A goodwill basketball game takes an angry turn when players stop passing basketballs and start hurling chairs.
Quickly you realize this was not your typical sports altercation.
It's an international basket brawl, and the entire chaotic scene is caught on camera by fans in the bleachers.
I was fearing for my physical well-being.
August 14th, 2011. The Georgetown University Hoyas arrive in Beijing for an 11-day exhibition tour of China. Washington Post reporter Jean Wang and an entourage of more than 200 fans and school officials accompany the team on the trip.
They wanted this to be a goodwill tour to expand Georgetown's brand abroad.
But the Hoyas are not the only high-profile Americans in China.
Vice President Joe Biden was in town at the same time. There's a little bit of tension between the United States and China. Joe Biden was over there to kind of try to smooth that out economically and politically.
In fact, Biden attends the first game the Hoyas play, which goes on without incident. But he isn't there the next night, when they take on China's Bayi Rockets, a team with players from the People's Liberation Army.
Their team has a little bit more of an edge because of the military affiliation. And from the beginning, that game was really a lot of fouls, a really physical type of game.
Although dubbed the China-U.S. Friendship Basketball Match, this game is anything but friendly.
The Chinese officials did not do a very good job of handling and controlling the situation. There were foul after foul after foul being called against Georgetown. By halftime, this is one alarming stat to me. Georgetown was called for 30 fouls, whereas the Chinese team was called for only 10. That was an indication to me that something really bad could be happening in the second half.
Hoyas coach John Thompson III says tensions are running high on both teams.
It was an emotional game. It was a tense game. And that happens. That happens in athletics. Those tensions, those feelings are not abnormal.
But watching from the sidelines, Wang is sure this is no normal basketball game.
It wasn't a matter of if there was going to be a fight, it was a matter of when there was going to be a fight.
It isn't long before Wang's premonition comes true. The game is tied at 64 in the fourth quarter when Georgetown's team captain Jason Clark gets in an altercation with two players from the Rockets that ends with him on the ground.
I heard the whistle blow and I saw Jason Clark on the court. They started pushing each other right there. Both benches pretty much simultaneously emptied.
The floor erupts into chaos as both teams rush to enter the fray.
Players started picking up chairs, plastic chairs that were on the side of the court. There were chairs being thrown.
Cameras rolling on the sidelines captured dozens of violent exchanges.
There was one player, Aaron Bowen, a Georgetown player, who was thrown to the ground and being hit repeatedly by a Chinese player.
Bowen is saved when his teammate races across the court and tackles the Chinese player, sending him headfirst into a chair, which another Georgetown player then picks up and swings at his head.
Your instincts are to protect yourself, to protect your teammates. And I think that's all we were trying to do, was protect ourselves and protect our teammates.
You can see Chinese players with chairs in their hands looking for someone to throw it at.
Most sports fights are one punch is over.
But this is far from your average local sports brawl, with much more at stake.
Realizing that Joe Biden was in town for talks with China, economic talks, I mean, that's when it clicked that, boy, this could be something much more than just a basketball game that got out of hand. I mean, this could be an international incident.
Coaches and officials are able to separate the teams in less than 2 minutes, but the bad behavior spreads to the fans.
As they're walking out of the court into the tunnel to get to their locker room, that's when full bottles of water came flying out of the stands. It was just a really chaotic and ugly scene.
The fight is over, but the Hoyas and their fans have no idea how big of an incident it will become after the video hits the internet. Watching it on YouTube again, that's when you really think, boy, I mean, it was a lot bigger than I really even realized at the time.
They met us at the airport the next morning. Their coach acknowledged the fact that they had been the best hosts in the world, and we both expressed our regret over what happened. The Hoyas fly to Shanghai, where they win their last 2 games and run a basketball clinic for local youth.
Beijing's behind us, man.
We're excited to be here in Shanghai.
But with them, they take one lesson that Coach Thompson had not initially intended to teach when he planned the trip.
The image that the world has captured, there was a still shot that day of 3 or 4 guys, Jason Clark on the ground. One small basketball game can become an international incident because of that. One of the growing points that our team experienced is that what they do, the world is watching.